In light of the new Gen Pop system, to help prevent wardens and security officers from getting robusted, we're going to cover flashes and flashbangs very quickly. Flashes are often underutilized or their full use is not fully realized. Flashes may be one of the greatest combat tools in the game, but you have to be fighting against somebody who does not have flash protection, so no security glasses, sunglasses, welding masks, syndicate masks. But in the context of prisoners, you definitely should have confiscated any form of flash protection, so this is more so for people like the warden, but you can utilize this anywhere else outside of the game, against people who do not have those flash protections. The Flash, or Flasher, some people call this the Flasher, has two primary effects. It has 5 charges that cannot be recharged on its own. So a quick warning, if you are somebody who struggles with like motion sickness or possibly even has like epilepsy, do not watch past this point. Flashes are very brutal in the eyes and better accessibility settings probably should exist for these. Anyways, if you pick up the Flash and press Z, you will flash everyone around you in a 7-tile radius. This gives you a disorienting, blinding style effect and will slow you to a crawl during the duration. The slow effect is really hard to see on the normal flash because it only lasts for 1.5 seconds, but that can be a huge difference for chasing somebody. So again, I'll reflash myself. You can see I lose 75% of my move speed, which is more than it says you're supposed to lose in code, but whatever. Maybe there's something I don't understand. But I'm going to keep my glasses on for now because that's all you need to see. We are 6 tiles away, and if I stand here and use the flash, we'll see that I'm still affecting their movement speed, even from here. So you're chasing somebody and they're roughly that far away, and you press Z and they don't have flash protection, you'll be able to close the gap very easily. You can also technically spam these out to stack the slowing effect. So you can try to use that to basically free someone in place. That is one very good use of the flash. Another major reason you should use the flash is you should run after somebody, keep pressing Z up until you're up next to them, and if you melee them with the flash, you won't blind anyone else nearby, but you will knock that person to the ground temporarily. So you can then use the flash to knock them to the floor, then swap to your baton and start actually taking away their stamina. You can prep a flashbang to slow them down further to help you get your hands on your proper tools. Whatever the case may be, it is very useful for fighting. Plus, it will knock any of them out of their hands. So if they're meleeing you, you can hit them with the flashbang. You can even wide swing it, and then hopefully try to take the item out of their hand faster than they can. Also, the wide swing does technically, I don't think you can stun multiple people with it in any circumstance. Maybe there's some weird like niche edge case where you can multi-stun, but otherwise I don't believe you can. There's also one other device in the game that acts as a flash, but syndicates can actually get this, and I believe you could find them in maintenance lockers, maybe not anymore. But this is a syndicate lantern that has basically the same functions as a normal flash, but it looks just like a normal lantern. However, if you shift click, it'll instantly tell you it's a syndicate variety. And this has 15 uses, so you can really rapidly flash somebody down as any syndicate here. But otherwise, treat it like the same item. You can even melee somebody with the lantern. Flashbangs actually have the same exact range as normal flashes. However, they slow down last a longer time, and there's no obviously melee component here. You can't melee somebody with a flashbang, but you can again detonate one 7 tiles away. Something I recommend doing as a security officer is literally just detonating in your hand because there's no penalty to it. However, from what I could tell, the flashbang actually doesn't slow you quite as much as a flash, so you get a much longer slowdown, but it isn't quite as slowing. But again, you can actually stack multiple flashbangs, but it's really not that complicated of an item. It's just a flashbang. It slows like the flash, but it's a grenade, so you can throw it, you detonate it in your hand. I, again, honestly, personally recommend detonating in your hand because it is more likely to hit who you want. Then you actually have the cluster bang, which is multiple flashbangs, but these flashbangs usually tend to reflash the same target because of the 7-tile radius, and you could slow somebody down basically to the point of not being able to move at all if they get hit by multiple overlapping flashes. There's also the flash payload, which you can put in a modular grenade, which makes a normal flashbang, but it actually has 1 tile less of range, so not quite as good as a normal flashbang. Finally, if you mix aluminum, potassium, and sulfur, you'll get a flash effect. And the size of that flash is depending on how many reagents. If you just do a 5-unit mix, it's basically nothing. However, if you do something like upwards of 25, you can basically make a repeating on-demand flashbang. So basically a normal flash, but better because it lasts longer. I've also literally never seen a single person ever do this, probably because it's a hidden interaction. But I could just sit here in my hands mixing these two together, basically flashbanging the entire room, and it can get people down to 0.1 movement speed, which is obviously a massive, massive slowdown. This isn't really that practical, but maybe as like a Nuki or a Syndicate chemist trolling, you can basically just make everyone in the room want to kill you because getting flashed is really annoying. And of course, there's the portable flasher, which anytime you walk by it will initiate a flashbang effect and a smaller range. You can just walk to not set these off if you weren't aware of that. I believe that is pretty much every flash effect currently in the game. Maybe there's like some weird edge case I'm forgetting about or some item I don't remember, but it's really just flashes slow you down. Getting meleeed by a flasher will temporarily stun you, but not actually take away stamina, so you can use it to knock an item out of somebody's hands. And flash protection would prevent all of this. So, as a warning, you have your flashbangs or flashes very ready to go. Thank you for watching.